I mean, I work hard, no matter what. I work hard. I believe in my teammates. They believe in me. And I just try to play the basketball game the right way,
DJ him. Simple as that. Bottom line. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He him. Dejounte Murray, gamer.
Welcome in, Hawks fans. Your boy Bryce Lewis back at it again for another Bleav in Hawks episode. Is today Hawks coming off an exciting victory over the Orlando Magic, winning on a game-winning shot by our guy Dejounte Murray, a guy who's been mentioned a lot of trade talks, but came up clutch tonight for the Hawks to give him a win. Now on a 2-game winning streak. So we're going to talk about that game, break that down. Then also we're going to talk about just the latest Hawks trade rumors. Feels like there's something new every day. Also, big trade happening in the association with the Pacers landing a man that people on the Hawks have wanted. Some people have wanted this particular player, but the Pacers ended up getting him, and we'll talk about that trade and break that down, and then we'll look ahead and see what's coming for the Hawks. So this is your Bleav in Hawks podcast, your boy Bryce Lewis. Like I said, guys, before we get started, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Bryce_2K. Also, don't forget, watch this on YouTube, subscribe, like the video, show your boy some love. I appreciate any feedback and all from all my peoples that take time out to listen to me. And then also through my audio listeners as well. Don't forget to leave a rating and review. And then, like I said, leave a comment as well. So, that's what we got going on today. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, guys. So the Magic and the Hawks meet for the third time this year, tied series 1-1 in the season series. I would like first to preface it with this. From these 3 games, and maybe I'm wrong on this, y'all can tell me, it seems like these teams are evenly matched. It seems like the Mexico City game went right down to the wire. Great game, by the way. Or when they were in Orlando, went into overtime. This game literally almost went potentially, the Hawks could have easily lost this game if they didn't make that shot at the end, but they did. And then also could have went into overtime as well. So these teams have just been equal throughout all of it, right? And tonight was just there's no difference of that. I mean, the Hawks in the first game, if they had won in overtime, would have only let up 105 points. I'm not overtime. If they had won in regulation before going to overtime, they only held Orlando to 105 points. Tonight, same thing. It's Orlando didn't score a lot of points. They only scored 104 points tonight, which defensively is what you want to do on a nightly basis, and the Hawks were able to do that. But obviously, if you see the Magic, they've lost some guys to some injuries, and so their offense isn't as good as it was at the beginning of the year. But one thing they always can hang their hat on is their defense. And tonight, they were able to be disruptive against the Hawks, creating a total of 23 turnovers against the Hawks. So they were able to turn the ball over, especially in that first half, get some early turnovers and get some points. But Hawks were able to fight back through it. And, throughout this entire game, man, if you watched it, I mean, like I said, it was back and forth game for the most part. Jalen doing his thing, Paolo doing his thing, Trey doing his thing, Dejounte doing his thing. It was a game that there were points in the game where both teams were struggling to score the ball. There were points in the game where both teams, seemed like they found a bit of a rhythm. Magic had a 7-point lead. Hawks came back, took the lead. It was a back and forth game. It was that type of game. So it makes sense that the ending of this game happened the way it happened, with Dejounte Murray scoring the game-winning bucket in the last shot of the game. No timeout called after the 3 to tie it up by the Magic. They went ahead and pushed it. Now, one big topic of conversation after this game was Trae Young looked off by Dejounte Murray, or what? Obviously, everybody who watched the game, who's seen the video, if you haven't yet, look it up online. Trae Young was trying to try to get a call of timeout. Quinn Snyder also won a timeout after they had scored that bucket to tie the game. And the referee did not see them. So the play just kept going. Dejounte just took the ball and went. And so I can't remember the name exactly at this moment, but there was someone on Twitter from the Ringer. I know that for a fact. It might have been Ryan Russillo. I could be completely wrong about that. But he basically tweeted saying that Dejounte didn't look at Trae, and that basically he just ignored him, right? And obviously people remember the play from a couple of games ago where Dejounte looked off Trae, waved off Trae, and took a shot, right? And then there was a rumor that came out talking about that they may not like each other. Whatever. Obviously, if you've watched the Hawks the last 2 years, they have let Dejounte take that shot before, so I'm not surprised, and that shouldn't mean that he's waving off Trae. But in that particular moment, Trae Young was trying to get the timeout called or help get a timeout call. And Quinn was also trying to get a timeout call because he probably wanted to set up the last play. Usually, there's always that big question when you have the last shot and the team just scored or the team, just missed and it's like a tie ball game. Do you call a timeout, set a play up, but then you allow the other team to set their defense up? Or do you go and push the ball and hope that you can get them out of alignment, just scrambling, and then that maybe can present a good look for you on the other end? Hawks went ahead and chose to not see the time. The referees did not see the timeout, so the Hawks basically had to go. Luckily, Dejounte was aggressive and trying to score the ball, because I would feel like as any player, or for some players, you may feel like until a timeout is called, you may just be thinking, I'm going to push, I'm going to be aggressive, I'm going to go and try to score because we need to score it because we don't have a lot of time. So you can't necessarily wait around for, are we going to call a timeout? It's like, oh, if I get the ball in my hands and I don't hear a whistle, I got to go. And that's what Dejounte did, and that ended up being really, really good for the Hawks tonight, getting that game-winning shot. First game win of the year for the Hawks, so that's big. I mean, the Hawks had multiple game winners last year, so getting a game winner this year, I'm sure, was big for them. Just because game winners always make you feel good about where you like just the game, whatever happened, how we got to this point. The teammates embraced Dejounte after he made that shot, and helped them now win 2 in a row, beating the Magic, and now lead the season series 2-1 as well. So that was a good ending to that game, and overall. It was something that the Hawks, I think, needed, overall. So they got the win tonight. Quick stats. Trae had 18 and 12 tonight. Didn't have his best shooting night, but, did what he could. Jalen Johnson also didn't have a great shooting night. 3 of 9 from the field, only 10 points, but 9 rebounds and 3 assists. He's someone who can obviously impact the game in different ways. He actually had the highest plus-minus out of all the starters tonight. Dejounte Murray, the hero of the game, 26 tonight, had one of his better games tonight. It was aggressive offensively, and when Dejounte is attacking the rim and aggressive, you can see he has great finishing ability, and he showed it in this game, and it really helped him, especially in this moment, to make a play like that. Sadiq Bey continues to struggle. 1 of 7 points tonight. Had the highest minus out of all the starters. I don't know what's going to happen with Bey. Maybe he'll get traded. Maybe he'll stay, but if he stays, he needs to go back to the bench. I just don't think he can start for us. I've always said that he seems like he's a better player off the bench than he is starting. And then Clint Capella, 27 points. I mean, why did I say 27 points? That'd be crazy if he did. 12 points tonight for Clint Capella, man, 27 minutes, man. So definitely did what he needed to do there tonight. Honestly, did not have a good first half, though. Dejounte was not good. Why did I say Dejounte? I might have been tired. I'm just flubbing everybody's name. Clint did not have a good first half tonight. Struggled, especially rebounding the ball. Just was not a good game for him overall from rebounding and other perspectives. So you obviously wish you could get more out of Clint tonight. And that's why Kongu probably finished the game, which I think was the right decision. He had 15 and 9 tonight. Bogey playing through a heavy heart tonight. I don't know if y'all heard Golden State's assistant coach. I'm not going to butcher his name, so I'm not going to say it, but the Golden State Warriors assistant coach died after health complications tonight. So sending prayers out to them and their family. Somebody that Bogey was close to, he was debating if he should have played tonight. And so he was playing with a heavy heart, and you could tell he was a little affected by it when he was playing. So, wishing him the best and everything under the sun. So, but he played through, man. I gave us 12 tonight, and then Garrison Matthews with 6 as Quinn went to an 8-man rotation tonight against Orlando. So that pretty much was just Hawk shot 50% from the field, 32% from 3, 91% from the free throw line, 21 assists. Rebounding battle was about equal, but Orlando had more offensive rebounds and 6 more blocks and steals. So 8 more steals. So yeah. So overall, like I said, good win that I think was needed. Hawks, now sit in 10th place in the Eastern Conference. They, if the playoffs started today or end of season happened, they would be in the play-in tournament. So I know people have kind of looked at the soft reset as like we're going to tank and everything. But I've also said the bottom of the Eastern Conference is not that good. So the Hawks may not be out of it by default. And so they may still be a play-in team, or you would think at this point, unless they can go on a big streak, a play-in team or, to, get into the postseason potentially. So, but overall, like I said, it was good to get a win like this. And I think it was good to send Atlanta fans home happy tonight with a win like this. Because, like I said, there's been so much crap around the team. There's been so much drama, so many rumors. These types of wins you just really appreciate, and you really feel like you need, So, I mean, the Hawks had a 5-game homestand, went 3-2 in that homestand, which, like I said, the Hawks have not been great at home. So for them to win that game was big. They're 8-11 at home now, but next game against the Miami Heat, they're going to be on the road, a team that's obviously given them trouble, at least the season series, 2-0. But the Hawks technically have been a better away team, even though they still have a losing record on the road as they have been at home. So we'll have to see how that goes moving forward. Well, let's go ahead and get into those trade rumors now. I didn't talk about this in my last pod with Glenn Willis. If you haven't checked that out, please check it out. Really good interview with him from the 29th ATL pod. Just really great insight. Really enjoyed talking to Glenn. So it was basically a state of the Hawks type episode. So it's not really a dated episode. It's just talking about the team right now. So guys, definitely check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Hey, listen to that and show some love over there on that episode as well. But going to the trade rumors. So basically, from the last time I talked about it, we didn't necessarily know what the Hawks were asking for Dejounte Murray. We knew that the Nets, actually, we didn't know that either when I last talked about it. So 2 new things. First, the Nets are apparently now potentially interested in Dejounte Murray. So that's somewhere that could be enticing for the Hawks, maybe depending on what you want from them. And then also, apparently, the Hawks also want 2 first-round picks for Murray as well. So that's the update there. Ian Begley, I'm saying it's wrong, that's my fault. I actually had a story in NBA Insider about the potential trade notes with the Nets if the Hawks wanted to pursue a trade like that. Apparently, obviously, the Nets have fallen off. They are now currently behind the Hawks now as the new 11th seed or the 11th spot in the Eastern Conference. So they may be looking to blow some things up, looking to make some changes. The Hawks obviously looking to maybe have a soft reset, get off some cap, reset, get some picks back. Apparently, the Hawks and the Nets discussed or touched base, as they said in this article early this season, about a deal surrounding Spencer Dinwiddie, potentially swapping guards there. Obviously, the Nets have 4 unprotected first-round picks, so that could also be enticing for the Hawks. Spencer Dinwiddie, maybe 2 first-rounders. Obviously Dorian Finney-Smith and Royce O'Neal could be 2 guys who could help the team too if they want to include in that deal. What would you think about a Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and 2 firsts, pick? I mean, this was, like I said, this is a report from a little bit earlier this season, so we don't know if this is something the Nets are going to revisit now that their name has popped up in the Dejounte Murray sweepstakes, but it is something that we can keep an eye on. But that's something that, would be interesting if the Hawks wanted to go down that avenue. Adding Spencer Dinwiddie, it would be an interesting fit with Trey. Spencer Dinwiddie, is a point guard who has pretty much been kind of all over the place as a 2-1. He is a combo guard, a guy who could get streaky, could score the ball, but at the same time also can go a little cold. He's a scorer, but at the same time, I don't know how much he moves the needle for you defensively. So that would be the thing. That's why if you could get a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith or Royce O'Neal, that would be where your defensive value comes from, or you're still getting that offensive value from Spencer. Now, whether you think Dejounte is a better offensive player than Spencer Dinwiddie, that's your choice. It just depends. Some people may think DeJounte's the better offensive player. Some people may think Spencer, whatever, right? I like Spencer Dinwiddie. I've always liked him as a player. But, I don't, for me, that doesn't move me, but I could see it. Plus, if you make a move like that, is that really a soft reset if you're just getting another starting? I mean, you're getting a starting quality guard, which obviously you would want for DeJounte in a trade. But then on top of that, you're getting some good, valuable pieces that realistically could just gear you up to make a run, realistically, because and obviously we got to see what other trade dominoes that would fall. But you add Dorian or you add Royce O'Neal, you're getting a 3-and-D guy with still a scoring 2 guard. And that will also help just roster construction. Now, obviously, we don't know the entire base of the trade. A player could be going back to the Nets as well. But it's something to keep an eye on. I think Brooklyn is probably a very interesting team in the sweepstakes for Dejounte Murray. So something we need to keep an eye on, something that, we'll hear more of. I'm sure more rumors will come from that. So that's just another team who's involved. Obviously we know the Lakers, they've been widely involved. They said the Hawks have re-engaged with the Lakers. Talked to some trades about that. Still trying to figure out what that might look like. Heat have been brought up as well as a potential team that might want to go after Dejounte Murray. The Knicks, people may be trying to see Quentin Grimes potentially comes to the Hawks for Dejounte Murray. Every team has like a player that you maybe really would want in that trade. For the Lakers, you've heard Austin Reeves or D'Angelo Russell potentially in that move. For the Hawks, the big thing is if you're talking about the Heat and the Hawks, first, it's in division. Don't really know how you feel about making a trade like that. But second, who realistically are the Heat willing to give up for Dejounte? Because I'm sure Hawks would like, give me Bam, give me Tyler. We're not just going to take, even Hami. This is a guy that people would really want if they could potentially get them as well. So those are just some teams and some connections that have been made in that potential trade or potential trade rumors. And then obviously the Spurs as well there was reports of potentially maybe Dejounte reuniting with Popovich in San Antonio. I feel like that's the least likely of them. Obviously, people have started to create rumors about Trey wanting to play with Wemby. And, I definitely don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. So I think that we are going to be in good shape. And it's just good to have suitors and have people. Like I said, the Hawks want 2 first-round picks. They have competition for Dejounte in terms of people who want him. They have bidders. So in a way, you have ammo to maybe get a team to cough up that extra pick. Because if everybody's offering a first-round pick, well, if you want Dejounte and if you're Landry Fields and you talk to those teams, if you want Dejounte, why should we take your deal? Unless you're giving me another good player or something like that, or you're giving me like, you're really giving me players that I want. How can you stand out from those other teams? And then maybe that's how you can get that second first. Everybody has different first, unprotected first, top 10 lottery, top 5 lottery projected picks. Those are the picks that you're probably going to hear a lot associated with the Hawks when talking about a potential trade for Dejounte. So that's something that we could definitely look into. And obviously, they also talked about them trying to pair Clint Capella in a potential Dejounte Murray trade. Obviously, I've said that it's time for Onyeka Okongwu to become the starting center and just see how that Jalen Okongwu front court works as the season goes on. So I definitely think that that's something that could also be in the works, because that probably also could be what could be holding the trade up with a particular team is who's willing to take Clint unless another team is willing to make it a 3 or a 4-team trade and potentially take Clint Capella. So that way the one team that mainly wants Dejounte doesn't have to take on Clint Capella. So that's definitely something that overall I think is going to be interesting to keep an eye on as the Dejounte Murray trade sweepstakes continue, and we'll see how that goes. Like I said, he's actually been playing some really good basketball these last few games since a lot of these trade requests came out. So he's definitely still playing hard. He loves the game of basketball. If you know Dejounte, he's not going to quit on his team. He's not going to do any of that. He's still going to play the game. Now, some people have talked about him potentially when Trey comes off the floor, he's playing a little bit more aggressive. Like, I'm trying to show people what I could do. But, listen, at the end of the day, it really don't matter because if he's playing well and then potentially gets the Hawks wins, it really don't matter. So all it does is help the Hawks if that happens. So I just wanted to give some quick thoughts and update on the trade rumors with Dejounte. But now let's talk about the big trade that happened in the NBA. Pascal Siakam is now a Pacer. Yes, sir, a guy that people have connected to the Hawks since the summer. Now is on Indiana. And listen, good for them. Pacers have obviously been a team that a lot of people have been questioning. Are they for real? Are they serious? Are they, as good as advertised? Are they just a fun team that scores a lot of points? Well, adding Pascal Siakam, you're adding a legitimate two-way player. There's a reason why some Hawks fans wanted Pascal Siakam, but the issue with Pascal with trades is that he basically had a no trade clause without actually having a written no trade clause. He basically, since he was a free agent this summer, can tell teams, I'm not going to resign. And then, like I said, as a team, aren't you going to give up assets for a half-year rental? And is Pascal Siakam really going to move the needle for you? From all indications from Adrian Wojnarowski and everybody is that he plans right now to re-sign with the Pacers as the summer happens. He's excited to go to Indiana. He wants to play with Tyrese Halliburton. And that this is the location he wanted to go. And apparently, if he was traded to another team, he would leave that team to go to Indiana this offseason. Obviously, that's always a hard trade to make for any team when you don't have a player who's non-committal. The Raptors did that a few years ago with Kawhi Leonard, non-committal to staying in Toronto, but they got a championship out of it. So it ended up working out even though he left. Again, I don't know. I'm sure people would think Kawhi at that time and Pascal Siakam right now, Kawhi is a better player than Pascal. So you probably wouldn't sit there and think, oh, yeah, that's the same move. But the Pacers now have a guy who now you could add as a legit two-way, and that's one of the biggest things the Pacers needed to improve was the defensive side of the ball. They could score points with the best of them. Hawks fans, we've just seen them twice in the last week and a half. We know how good offensively this team is. This team could score points. But one thing that they're getting with Pascal is a guy who can guard the other team's best offensive player and potentially lock them up. And that just adds to what Indiana can be this season. A team that went to the finals of the in-season tournament against the Lakers came up short, but that's when people started opening their eyes and saying, wait, are the Pacers legit this year? Are the Pacers legitimate? You're thinking in the Eastern Conference, you're thinking Bucks, you're thinking Sixers, and you're thinking Boston as your three best teams in the East. Now Pacers are in that conversation potentially, especially with this trade. And all they had to give up was a bunch of picks in Bruce Brown, which Bruce Brown, he was a part of the Denver Nuggets, the champions from last year, and he's a good player. But you've upgraded now. You're still getting a two-way guy who has more of an impact on the game. And so it'll be interesting to see how Pascal is integrated within the Pacers system, how Rick Carlisle decides to use him, and see where that goes overall. But on Toronto's end, I want to say that I think Toronto's actually done a great job. They got picks back, especially in this trade. They got picks back, 3 first-round picks to be exact. And also there was a third team in the deal, New Orleans sending Kyra Lewis to the Raptors also. So Raptors get another player. But I apologize if I butchered the name again. Seem like I'm struggling on the pod. So I apologize for that, guys. But we talk about the Raptors for a minute, man. They've done a pretty good job getting some assets back in these trades with the Knicks and then with the Pacers. You get Bruce Brown, really good two-way guy. You got RJ Barrett, good player. Emmanuel Quickley, good player. Now you get Lewis, good player. Get 3 first-round picks back. You've accumulated some good assets. You still have Scotty Barnes. You still have Dennis Schroeder. You have some guys who can play. Listen, we ain't gonna think much of Toronto this year, but Toronto has done a good job of kind of reloading the team and during this rebuild. They have some good players on that team still. And I think it's going to be interesting because I wonder if that's a model that maybe Atlanta will try to follow is like, when you're making these resets, you obviously want to get picks back, to have ammunition for future trades, or potentially, if you get a lottery pick, a potential really good player in the lottery. But at the same time, you're getting good players back who can help your team contribute. And, we may look at Bruce Brown and think, okay, they got Bruce Brown, great. Bruce Brown could be important if Toronto becomes competitive again. He could be a big part of them being competitive again when they build the team they want to build there. So definitely something to keep an eye on for sure with Toronto. I think they think a lot. They've actually done a good job. I think some people are going to think they've been fleeced, but I think they've done a good job. You've gotten 3 players back that are part of your rotation. We'll see if Lewis is. And then you got picks. I mean, this season's not going to be we're making a run type of season. I mean, obviously we never know if they, could make a run. You never want to count anybody out, so to say, but could make a run potentially. I mean, you're 12th right now in the Eastern Conference. You're only a game and a half out of the 10th spot. So you play in is still very possible for you. So, could potentially happen for them, and hopefully other things work out. So we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. So that was the big NBA trade that happened. We'll have more that obviously happen as the trade deadline gets closer too. But I think that's about all I got for you guys today. Like I said, Dejounte Murray, the hero, beating the Orlando Magic on a game winner to send the Atlanta fans home happy as the Hawks get on a 2-game winning streak. They play the Miami Heat this Friday as they try to have their first 3-game winning streak since the beginning of the season. They haven't had a 3-game winning streak or more than 3 games won in a streak since the 4-game winning streak at the start of the season after starting 0-2. So Hawks are looking to do something they haven't done only once this season for the second time. If they can come and go into Miami and beat the Miami Heat on their home floor. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. And obviously, I'll make sure I'll stay on top of that and give you guys the latest. It's actually my birthday coming up this Friday. So I probably will not have a podcast this weekend because of it. At best, you might get a YouTube short because I'll have some friends in town. So we're going to enjoy my birthday weekend and everything like that. So we'll see. But, it's all good, though. But like I said, guys, it's the Bleav Hawks podcast, man. I appreciate y'all. It's your boy, Bryce Lewis. See you next time.